Is it true that Jungkook was hiding something during his enlistment? Discover the shocking secrets Sy Hiuk claims to have revealed. You won't believe it. Like, comment, and subscribe to this suspense-filled story. For a moment, imagine your phone screen filled with notifications. Army surprised. Sy Hiuk discovers surprising facts about Jungkook during his enlistment. What will you feel? Heart racing, curiosity surging. Is it true that the famous idol keeps a big secret? Before you scroll further, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe so you don't miss further updates, because what will be revealed below will really make you think again about the Jungkook figure you know so far. You may be wondering, what exactly is this surprising fact? How deeply did this secret affect Jungkook's image and his enlistment journey? Will this divide the fandom, or instead open up new perspectives on its dedication and sacrifice? All of those questions will be answered in the next part. But be careful, this story isn't just light gossip. There are layers of emotion, cryptic clues that create tension, and surprises that might shake your confidence. In the shadow of the army, Jungkook always appears as a hardworking, humble, and passionate figure. However, rumors that during his enlistment he kept secret facts certainly invite speculation. Is this related to personal struggle? Or maybe it concerns an unexpected dedication that is even more moving. This is where the role of Sy Hiuk, the authoritative figure behind many of HYB's works, appears as the party who discovers that fact. Is it possible that Sy Hiuk, who in this story is described as a mentor figure and the adoptive father of the industry, really revealed something that the public never knew? Or is it possible that this whole story is just a media hoax made by fan fiction writers? Let's walk through this story as if we were watching a military drama. Starting from the first day Jungkook stepped into the draft, carried by an aura of army enthusiasm but also overshadowed by a deep longing. Imagine the scene where Jungkook says goodbye with a stern look, but what does he hold in his heart? In this fictional scenario, Sy Hiuk is said to find Jungkook's personal notes, a kind of secret journal written secretly in between military exercises. The journal purportedly contains an unexpected inner story, feelings of fear, doubt, and hope that may never be openly expressed. At this point, the intriguing question arises: did Jungkook really write that secret journal? Or is it just a story to add to the drama? If you are a loyal soldier, you might ask, will the military change Jungkook into a different person? Is he harboring deeper fears than we ever thought? The first clue Sy Hiuk claimed to find was a cryptic inscription about a childhood memory related to the family. In this fiction, Jungkook is said to have longed for a simple childhood, something that is rarely discussed in public interviews. He wrote how he often missed the moments of practicing dance in a narrow room, laughter with childhood friends, to big dreams that suddenly appeared when he was pensive in a military dorm. This article caused a surprise. The public never thought that behind the figure of a global star, there was a deep pent-up longing. However, the story is not over yet. Next, a second clue is presented. The notes are directed at extreme experiences during training. How Jungkook had time to experience physical fatigue and mental stress that made him almost give up. He wrote about training push-ups to the last second, running through the rain, trying to endure pain in order to meet strict military standards. However, behind the difficulties, he finds strength, the support of his fellow colleagues, the inner drive to prove that he is not just an idol, but an individual who is able to adapt in a harsh environment. This brings out Haru's emotions, feeling both amazed and touched, realizing that behind the glittering stage, there are real challenges that Jungkook also faces. Is this a true fact or a dramatic fabrication? In this section, the clickbait is even more pronounced. Sy Hiuk found a heart-rending secret note. How did Jungkook react when rereading those bitter memories? We are led to imagine an emotional moment where Jungkook, away from the cameras, cries silently in a corner of a military dormitory. This led Army to ask, do we really know how much sacrifice he has gone through? Emotions are intensified. Readers are invited to feel sympathy, admiration, as well as encouragement to support Jungkook more deeply. Then came another surprise in the notes. It was claimed that there was an admission of a secret project Jungkook was working on during his free time, possibly related to music or art. That said, he wrote song lyric ideas inspired by military experiences, which have never been published. Imagine, BTS's future songs or Jungkook's solos born from military experience. Question: will we hear this work rooted in military experience? How did it affect Jungkook's musical identity? These hints are conveyed vaguely, no details, in order to provoke curiosity. Readers were left wondering, sparking discussion. When the hell is Jungkook going to release this inspired new single? What are the emotional themes? CTA at the beginning makes the reader encouraged to comment, write your opinion about what the lyrics look like. And don't forget to subscribe, so we can discuss more deeply later. On the other hand, there is also a slightly revealing narrative about personal relationships. Supposedly, there is a brief note about a letter Jungkook wrote to someone, not a fan, but family or close friends. This letter describes a deep sense of longing, a memory of the past, and a promise to return home as a more mature person. In this fictional version, Sy Hiuk finds quotes such as, "I want my family to know that even though they are far away, my heart is still tethered to childhood memories. I'm coming home with a new story and a new power." Surprise! The presence of a more mature nuance of introspection than we are used to hearing in official interviews. It was emotional. It made the army sigh, reminding them of the importance of supporting Jungkook during his enlistment. However, we must also present attention. There is a claim that in the journal is written doubt: is he really able to pass all the tests? He told a nightmare, a sense of failure if it cannot satisfy the expectations of the public and the agency. If I fail, what does it mean for BTS? Will the fans be disappointed? This kind of writing creates an inner conflict. On the one hand, idols like Jungkook are often associated with high self-confidence. On the other hand, we are exposed to his fragile side. This is the peak moment of emotional tension. The reader is stunned, then wonders, how did he rise from the heaviest of doubts? And how big is the role of colleagues and management in supporting it? Clickbait is reinforced by a fictional secondary title. How did Jungkook overcome his deepest doubts? Sy Hiuk's expression made the army cry. Furthermore, the article takes the angle of internal agency reaction in a fictional scenario. Sy Hiuk, as a caring figure, suddenly finds the note, then decides to take a special step. However, this is where we must be careful. Since it is fiction, we emphasize that it is only an imaginative story, not real. In the story, Sy Hiuk prepares a special team to support Jungkook, psychological counseling, additional training programs, and the preparation of music material that will later be inspired by the experience. There's a dramatic scene. Sy Hiuk reads notes in his workspace late at night, then jerks off, jotting down ideas for a documentary project about the military life of a K-pop idol. A feature that was picked up to the public after Jungkook completed his assignment. This story caused a sensation. Will a real documentary be made? When is the release? Will it reveal the human side behind BTS's stage? CTA again reminded, comment, do you think such documentaries are interesting? Click subscribe for notifications. The next section elaborates ARMY's reaction in fiction. Theories appear on fan forums, intense discussions on social media. Some believe this will be a historic moment, opening a new chapter for BTS. Some are skeptical, judging this to be a promotional trick or mere rumor. I narrate the mood of the fans. There is a feeling of misgivings, anticipation, skepticism, but also a spirit of support if the story is real. Emotional tone is maintained. Readers are invited to feel part of a loyal, but also critical ARMY community. Rhetorical question: do we have to wait for official confirmation? Or is it better to focus on supporting Jungkook without caring about gossip? This provokes discussion in the comments. CTA, write your opinion in the comments. Do you believe or doubt? Then, the article enters a chapter analyzing the impact that would supposedly occur if this fact were true. The psychological impact on Jungkook. How did he process the military experience and public pressure upon his return? Impact on agencies: a more humane post-draft promotion strategy? Impact on the K-pop industry in general: will it open wider discussions about conscription and artist welfare? Here we add an intellectual nuance. For a moment, imagine you open your phone and see a title that makes your heart beat faster. Army shocked. Sy Hiuk discovers surprising facts about Jungkook during his enlistment. What comes to your mind first? Curiosity predominates, combined with a slight doubt. Is this really a valid fact, or is it just a mere sensation? However, one thing is certain: you want to know more deeply, feel involved, and don't want to be missed. Before diving deeper, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe so you always get notifications of the next dramatic stories. Are you ready to live a roller coaster of emotions? Let's explore this speculative fiction, but with as much intensity as real facts carefully, because in every paragraph, you'll be faced with dangling questions, cryptic clues, emotional clickbait, and surprise after surprise that might shake your view of Jungkook's time in the military. Chapter 1. The beginning of the journey in the mood of the ARMY when Jungkook first announced his enlistment schedule. Army Global prepared to face the silence that had surrounded his presence on stage. A farewell fanfare ensued at the airport, where hundreds of fans ushered him with cheers, flowers, banners, and tears. However, behind that warm atmosphere, there was an atmosphere of suspense that loomed. How would the Golden Magne deal with the physical and mental challenges in an environment far different from the glitter of the stage? In this fiction, behind Jungkook's tough smile, hidden feelings of doubt and inner questions, will I be able to survive? Am I going to turn into someone I no longer know? These mixed feelings form the foundation of the story, a mystery waiting to be revealed. Imagine you as a loyal army looking forward to updates from the agency, listening to every official statement with full attention. However, one night, word gets out that Sy Hiuk, an authoritative figure in HYB, has discovered something he never thought of before. This news was spread through fictional internal social media, leading to rumors. Is it true that Sy Hiuk read Jungkook's secret notes in the military dormitory? This question builds tension. Think about how you will react between anticipation, skepticism, and worry. The first shock appeared in the head. If true, what will be the consequences for the image of Jungkook and BTS? This is the emotional hook that keeps every army glued, impatiently waiting for further explanation. Chapter 2. Secret Journals. Do they exist? It is said that in the fiction circulating, Sy Hiuk found Jungkook's personal notes, a kind of secret journal that he wrote secretly in between military exercises. But here's the question. Would an idol of Jungkook's class risk writing something so personal in such a tight situation? Or is this just a fairy tale fan fiction aimed at creating drama? Here, clues begin to emerge. There are said to be scribbled strokes of childhood memories, homesickness, fear of facing strict military standards, and an ever-raging musical dream. Imagine, in the note was written a piece of the phrase, "Sometimes I'm afraid to fail, but I remember why I started all this, because of the music in the army. If I'm weak, my mind always goes back to your voice." Is this a fictional quote that reflects a real shadow? Rhetorical questions like this arouse sympathy. You ask, to what extent has the idol's fragile feelings ever been hidden from us? Furthermore, the fictional journal features dramatic scenes. Jungkook is up all night, writing under dim lights, documenting moments where seconds of practice make him almost give up. His description, arms shaking, heart pounding, mind screaming for it to stop, but the spirit to prove himself, not just as an idol, but as an individual who wants to be appreciated as a human being, pushes him to persevere. These clues give the impression of an emotional depth that is rarely revealed on the surface. You also feel empathy. Imagine if these words were really written. How much weight would he carry? Chapter 3. Emotional shock and shock. In this fictional narrative, the theme of surprise continues when it is claimed that there is a section of the journal that mentions darker childhood memories, shadows about the family or events that he kept tightly closed. Could Jungkook be hiding bitter memories from the past? If true, this adds a layer of mystery. ARMY begins to speculate about an emotional background that was never revealed in the media. It could be writing about the anxious days when her career was just beginning, the pressure she felt as a teenager under the global spotlight, or the feeling of not being good enough despite having achieved a lot. A fictitious quote might read, "Sometimes I feel small in the spotlight, as if the shadows of the past are dancing in the corner of my mind, reminding me that behind the stage there is a me who used to be afraid to dream." This kind of emotional shock makes the reader drift away, wondering, have we been looking too much at Jungkook as a perfect figure without realizing his fragile side? Furthermore, there is a dramatic element. In the lowest moments, Jungkook is told to write down the moments in which he questioned the choice. Do I deserve this career? If I fail in the military, what does it mean for my family, for BTS, for the army? The mood is presented with great intensity. Imagine a dark night at the training site, a downpour, Jungkook sitting in the corner of the dormitory, staring blankly at the wall, holding back tears. This is a shock that sparks empathy and admiration. No matter where the trip goes, mental stress still approaches. You as a reader are invited to feel the vibration of his heart, while reflecting, Have we ever made room for artists to feel fragile? Have our expectations been too high? Chapter 4. Musical inspiration from military experience. Then came a hint of the creative side. The journal purportedly recorded song lyric ideas inspired by the experiences of the conscripts. Imagine lyrics that express struggle, hope, and longing. Poetic lines born in the silence of night rehearsals, between the roar of footsteps in the field, or in the seconds of a short break in the dorm. In this fiction, there is a piece of lyrics. When this step is heavy, I remember the laughter that awaits / the heartbeats even though it is crushed.